So we were hiking along after a little photographic interlude, and then I just realized how if you follow the rock wall, it's almost a perfect circle. Very, very cool. Reminds me of that that half moon depression in just after Queenston.
Yeah.
Onward.
Onward.
So we heard a woodpecker, but as we were trying to get closer and figure out where it was coming from, it had stopped doing its thing and flew away. But still hear some birds, as you can hear in the background. Heard blue jay. Not sure what else is out there, but now that spring is around the corner, despite the fact that we just had snow the other day, we start to see signs of spring coming out. Trilliums should be blooming in the next few weeks. Not as much of a nice sight scene to see, but oop, more mud. Okay, so we're just a little ways on the other side of Quarry Road, and we were walking along this trail here, and then off to the side spotted this, but there's no other indicators of what might have been around here, but somebody definitely had a fire going at some point. Some very cool old hardware, pipe and brick, old spike, part of a chain, more old brick, more hardware, and motorbikes. So yeah, very cool. Alright, so just a little bit of a trail update. We've been kind of meandering through what looks like what could have been some like limestone pits or something like that, because we've seen quite a few situations where there's like a pile of boulders from way back. And now we have a T intersection where we're going to be turning right. Lots of little trails coming through and around the Bruce Trail here. Probably another spring runoff as well. You can see some of the rock face. Let's see if we can't check it out a little bit. Not a bad little shelter. Could use a little bit more work. Very cool stuff. So the trail has been fairly easygoing. Either kind of like packed down, crushed gravel and earth. Didn't really have much in the way of puds, or there's like one little bit of technical trail, but for the most part we've been making some pretty good time when we were actually hiking and not stopping for photos and silly videos. But it makes the outing all that much more fun. See, Paul, you can go hiking without throwing nuts at me and still have fun. Just ask Rob, right? I just got that on video. And once again, Paul is up to his usual antics. At this point, I would like to recommend you finding a hiking partner that you can actually get along with. Patricia, he's doing it again. I'm gonna let my trusty friend Paul go first. Case in point. So now I know what Ron Weasley felt like.
Ah, good as new. Chop chop.
And for those of you who don't get the reference, my good friend Paul and I, who we go hiking somewhat often, and we did the Scotland trip together. I'm just going to turn this around. So we, so our last real big adventure was going to Scotland and checking out the UK's most remote pub. Paul usually brings some form of trail mix, and in his trail mix are mixed nuts. And of course, I'm allergic to tree nuts, so very frequently I would be doing something similar to this, where, you know, I'm doing a little blurb for you guys who's taking the time to watch my channel, and all of a sudden I would get a nut or two thrown at my feet. And Paul, being the wine country, sorry. So Paul, being the joker that he is, would say, "Dance, nut boy, dance." So once again, be sure that if you are out hiking with somebody, make sure you get along. Anyways, but no, been quite fortunate in that department. Both Rob and Paul have been very good friends and very good hiking buddies, and I have a few other friends that have joined me on the trail. You may have seen a few in some of the videos, and I've seen a few posts about people's preference, whether it's, you know, do you prefer solo hiking or going out with a group. I think that in itself, I don't think there's, first of all, I don't think anybody can say for all certainty that they want to go solo or in a group every single time that they go out hiking. I think there's something very therapeutic about doing a solo hike, whether it's just a day hike or a multi-day hike and you're out camping in the woods by yourself, or, you know, even in a campground you have the site to yourself. You know, we tend to be so plugged in and engaged, whether it be online or in person, and it's good to have that alone time, even if you don't necessarily have to think of anything or contemplate anything. Just be, you know what I mean? At least for me. So that's my 2 cents worth of being philosophical. I promise no more. So I'm gonna let Rob catch up here, and I'll show you a little bit more later. Plus, we're coming up to people, and you know about me and filming people, so got a lot of these little side trails. Looks like there's some kind of a structure over there. Oh, stairs actually. So probably just connecting to other trail systems or what have you. Yeah. More stairs. Oh, look, a bench. Oh, I remember this spot. Arg. Nice little park. Okay, so we crossed Mountain Road, had a little bit of a roadside walk, and then we deked into the woods again, and we're coming across a little bit of a outcropping of sorts. So we're going to be continuing on that way. However, if we look down to the trail below, looks like there's a blaze there and a blaze there. So it looks like at some point we'll be going to the lower level, kitchen appliances and furniture. So just a literally a moment after doing that last recording, you come across this, and it just looks like those rocks tumbled a lot more than they would have. You can only think that maybe this was more of an outcropping, right? So if it jutted out more, then as the ground or whatnot eroded beneath, it just sheared off those chunks or something that I can't explain. But so damn cool. So trying to get another kind of perspective here. And it's no longer overcast, got some blue skies, partly cloudy, chance of rain. Yeah, all right, time for some photos and then back at it. All right, folks, so not that you would really recognize a boardwalk, but this is the same bridge that we actually were reviewing from up there. So we made it all the way down the trail and get Rob taking a picture, and you can see the couple of the blazes there. So we were just kind of following this little creek bed here, and it goes that way, but we're gonna go up there, and further on over the little hill here, it's gonna bend to the left, and we'll see where it goes. It turned into a really nice day today. Yes, indeed. Trickling water. Should be nice and cold. Looks fairly clean as well, now that the majority of the dirty runoff is done. All right, folks, so just a quick little update. Here's the path that we kind of came in on, and you'll notice that in the background there what looks to be a vineyard, and it was actually at one point. This is the old Mike Weir winery, and then in 2020 it was made into Locust Lane Winery, and apparently that did not last very long because it looks like they folded in 2022 or so. And as you can also see there in the foreground, more vineyards, but Rob was able to find an article indicating that it was just very poorly managed. The vines themselves had to be removed due to disease, poor service, a few other not very complimentary reviews. So needless to say, it looks like it's been abandoned since, and very little activity. So the vineyards definitely need a lot of work in order for them to get back into shape. But I don't see a gate on the property. I don't see a for sale sign, but we'll be continuing on to the front of the property and see what happens. But anyways, we just had a bit of a lunch break. We're 10 kilometers away from the border to Iroquois section of the Bruce Trail, and time to get at it. So onward.